Today we are working Psalm 141. Psalm 141 is used to overcome fear. It's used for success in any magical operation, and it's also used to protect against oppression. Today we're going to use Psalm 141 to dissolve fear. Anything you're afraid of, you can bring it to mind. We'll dissolve that fear with Psalm 141. The way we work psalm magic is very simple and effective. We take the psalm in question and we read it out loud all the way through once without stopping. We call this an incantation. At the end of that incantation, we go back through the psalm and we dig for hidden occult meanings which lie behind each verse. And those hidden occult meanings we call magic seeds. And when we do this digging for magic seeds, we are also in effect planting those seeds deeply in the fertile grounds of our minds, where they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and then they bear fruit after their kind. And that's exactly what we are going to do together with Psalm 141. Lord, I cry unto thee, make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity, and let me not eat of their dainties. Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness. And let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. For yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. When their judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth, as one who cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth. But mine eyes are unto thee, O God the Lord. In thee is my trust, leave not my soul destitute. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. Let the wicked fall onto their own nets, whilst that I withal escape. It starts out addressing the Lord, and it's always imperative when we work psalm magic that we orient ourselves to our understanding of the Lord. The Lord is the tetragrammaton, Yud-He Vav-He, and that for psalm magicians represents the one source, the one power, the one substance of all the universe. There's only one, and since there's only one, nothing can oppose it. Nothing can go against it. Nothing can thwart it. With one God, all things are possible. And since there's only one, we don't have to worry about anything because God is for us. Now, this doesn't mean that there's one monotheistic deity separate and distinct from us. This is an understanding of the force of life itself, the force of creation, the force of spirit. It says, Lord, I cry unto thee, make haste unto me. And that's a very typical way of starting one of these psalms, to open a dialogue and to orient ourselves to turn toward this force. It says to make haste unto me. Really what we're doing is making haste unto the Lord. We are making haste unto our connection and our realization of our connection with this one power. Now, if you're afraid of something, you are in a hurry to get this thing taken care of. So this is putting words to that feeling of being rushed. I gotta hurry. I gotta get this thing taken care of because I'm really afraid of something. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee. It's an affirmation that God always hears you. You don't need to tell God, don't forget me, because God's with you at all moments of time and points of space. There's no place for God to go because you and God are one. However, we do have a thing in our mind that we call the ego. It's just a habit of thinking that we are separate and that we can turn away from infinite intelligence and we can be vulnerable and we can have things to be afraid of. So when we are asking God to turn to us, to make haste to us, to listen to us, to not forget us. That's a reminder to ourselves that we have to return to our oneness, which never disappeared. We've never not been one with God. Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. This is making reference to ancient pagan practices. You burn incense, and that incense smoke brings your prayers up to the higher parts of the astral plane. So you can burn incense. If you're an incense burner, please do. But if you don't burn incense, you don't need to. It's not necessary. But you can see that as a symbol that your thoughts are like smoke going up. And it's saying the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. So when they would sacrifice something on the altars, they would put their hands up in a gesture of prayer or invocation. And you can do that as well if you like. The sacrifice, you can think of that as something symbolic, or if you are a tithing kind of person, this is a great time to remember the tithe, to remember what you've given, and to release it as a vehicle that brings you in your mind back to oneness with infinite intelligence. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Things come out of the mouth and things go into the mouth. The things that come into the mouth are air and nourishment. The things that come out of the mouth are expelled air, which is carbon dioxide. So you breathe in the oxygen, you breathe out the waste. Also, what comes out of your mouth are words. You are responsible for things that go into your mouth, and you are responsible for the things that come out of your mouth. If you're ingesting poison or you are using poisonous words, that's something that you need to take responsibility for. And you're asking here that infinite intelligence puts a watch on that. Remind me of what I'm taking in. Remind me of what I'm letting out. And it's not so much on a practical level as like diet and things like that. It can be, but it's more in terms of make me be mindful of what I'm bringing into my life and make me mindful of what I'm speaking into existence. Keep my mind focused on being intentional with what I'm allowing in and intentional about what I'm allowing out. Incline not my heart to any evil thing, to practice wicked works with men that work iniquity, and let me not eat of their dainties. This is talking about how fear is born. Your fear is born when you start to allow yourself to become one with it, and your heart starts to be inclined toward something that is evil. Evil just means that you're doing something different than what infinite intelligence is, that you're doing something all by yourself and off in the distance. How is it possible to differentiate yourself in your mind from perfection? The only way to do that is by coming up with something that's not perfect. If you are one with infinite good, how can you prove that you are separate? By proving that you're different than infinite good, that you're something evil. If you're inclined toward evil in that regard, if you're inclined toward separation, if you are lulled into that, if you are tempted into that, if those delicacies or dainties as they're called in this particular translation, if those delicacies are something that make your mouth water, then you're going to go for that. And then you're afraid. Why are you afraid? Because you've put yourself in a fearful frame of mind. The only reason why you have anything to be afraid of is if you believe that you're separate from that which can protect you. Infinite intelligence isn't afraid of anything, because infinite intelligence, back to the beginning, is the one power, the one source. Nothing can go up against it. And whatever infinite intelligence is for, nothing can be against. And so in truth, you don't have anything to fear because you are one with infinite intelligence. Now you're asking that you not be tempted into believing that you're separate in any way, even in ways that seem so fun, even in ways that seem like delicacies to you. You want to stay very true to your understanding of your oneness with infinite intelligence, and then you recognize that you are protected. You have nothing to fear, and the things that you're afraid of will melt before your eyes. Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, and let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. For yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. In the midst of their calamities, those evil temptations will be your prayer. So when you are noticing that you're afraid, you recognize, if I'm afraid, I must have thought incorrectly. I must have made a decision about myself that's wrong. I must believe that I'm separate from infinite intelligence. And since I made that decision, I can make another decision. I can decide all over again. So let me pray in the midst of that calamity, in the midst of that fear. And where it says, let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, it's not me that I'm wanting to be smited. It's not yourself. It's your decisions. It's your decision to view yourself as being vulnerable, to view yourself as being separate from infinite intelligence. As soon as you're all by yourself, alone in this world, you have every reason to be afraid. But how could that be possible? Just like you can't separate a sunbeam from the sun, you can't separate yourself from infinite intelligence, but you sure can use your mind to believe that's the case. So since you made a wrong decision about yourself, you're afraid. So now you're recognizing that. You're just saying, let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness, and let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head. In other words, the things that I'm afraid of are not real. So I'm not going to be afraid of turning back toward infinite intelligence, because infinite intelligence is going to be the oil that heals that anoints me, that brings me back into my understanding that I'm safe, that I'm one with infinite intelligence and nothing can touch me. When their judges are overthrown in stony places, they shall hear my words, for they are sweet. The judges that are overthrown in stony places. This is a very challenging verse for many people, but I love the images there. Stony places, those are hard places. Those are hard circumstances. Those are areas in your life that you say, yeah, but nothing can get through this. This is so difficult. This is so challenging. It's so stony. It's not comfortable for me to be here. It's scary for me to be here. And there's no way to break through because it's so hard. It's rocks. The reason why you're having calamity is because you're judging for yourself. You're judging for yourself. You don't have the point of view to make a good decision about yourself when you're in a fearful moment because you're not seeing things clearly. You're not in your right mind. So you want to ask infinite intelligence to judge for you until you get back into your right mind. You know you're in your right mind when you're no longer afraid. When you judge for yourself, you're in a stony place. You're in a place that you can't get out of, and all of the problems are unsolvable from your point of view. That's a stony place. But infinite intelligence goes, there's no unsolvable problem. There's no stony place. I'm infinite intelligence. Nothing can thwart me. Nothing can come up against me. And you're one with me, so you have nothing to be afraid of. Let me judge it for you. Let me judge this for you until you get back into sanity. You don't have anything to be afraid of. Let me do it for you. They shall hear my words, for they are sweet. The reason why your words are sweet is because you've asked infinite intelligence to be the guard of your mouth, so that you're no longer going, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid. You can give word to that, to be clear on that, but then I'm going to remind myself, I don't want to keep creating them. I'm going to start saying sweet words. All is well. Only good is going to come out of this. Everything's working out perfectly for me. Infinite intelligence has this. I have nothing to fear. Those are the sweet words that are going to be happening even in the midst of those stony places. Our bones are scattered at the grave's mouth, as when one cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth. So our bones, meaning the bones of our separate self, the bones of the false self that we thought we were. We have a bunch of stories that we've made up about ourselves. And those stories appear to be true. And because we aren't in our right mind to judge, we believe those stories. So we made those bodies, if you will, that are false. And we want our bones to be scattered at the grave's mouth, as when one cutteth and cleaveth wood upon the earth. We want the stories about ourselves, those false narratives, those false reasons why we have every reason to be afraid. We want those bones scattered at the grave's mouth. We want them shattered. Now, that's a scary image, but these are old poetic gestures. And recognize that the bones that are being scattered are the bones of that which are creating your fear, of the body that's creating your fear, as well as the fears themselves. And so it's like the water on the Wicked Witch of the West. Remember what Dorothy was doing there. She wasn't trying to kill the witch. She was trying to help her friend who was in need. And when she helped her friend, some water got on the witch, and that water created dispelling of that fearful image right in front of their faces, and they realized everything's fine. She's nothing but an illusion. She melted. And so in the same way, you're melting your fears by allowing yourself to have those sweet words, allowing yourself to, in the midst of whatever is appearing to go on in front of you, not getting caught up in it, and instead working with infinite intelligence and allowing infinite intelligence to make your decisions for you until you get to the other side of it. Because you're not yet in your right mind. So you can't judge for yourself because you believe that these shadows are real. You believe these monsters are real. You believe that this scary dream is real. And infinite intelligence knows that it's not. But mine eyes are unto thee, O God the Lord. In thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. You're reiterating here that I'm going to focus on you because I know you know the truth. If I'm focusing by myself on anything but you, I know that I'm going to go right back into that nightmare and be afraid. And I know that you know the truth. And I know that you are going to show me the truth. And once I know the truth, then I don't have to worry about it anymore. But right now, I'm in the midst of this scary nightmare. And so until I'm out of this, I'm going to trust in you. And then it says, leave not my soul destitute. Of course, God's not going to leave your soul destitute. That's just a poetic way of saying, lead me out of this destitution. Like in the Lord's Prayer, it says, lead us not into temptation. Like, why would God lead you into temptation? That means lead us out of temptation. Lead us out of destitution. Lead us out of this fear. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. These are images of the hunters. So it's as if what we're afraid of is after us. It's coming after us. We are the prey. We are being preyed upon by this. We're so afraid. This force that we're afraid of, or these people that we're afraid of, these circumstances, these finances, this disease, whatever it is that's so scary to us, are like traps being set for us. And it's saying, keep us out of that. How does infinite intelligence keep you out of that? The only way it can do that is by you putting your trust in it, because it knows the truth and it knows there are no traps, that there is nothing to fear, but you don't know that yet. So you have to put all of your trust in the infinite so that it can keep you safe until you awaken from this fear. Let the wicked fall into their own nets while I withal escape. Evil always destroys itself, not because of any other reason than it doesn't exist. Illusions always run their course. Fears always run their course. So you don't have to worry about any of it because you are being lifted, you are being protected, you are putting your eye right on infinite intelligence. As you are lifted up out of it, you're going to witness all of the problems resolving themselves. You're going to witness all of the so-called evil falling into its own trap. You're going to see that everything resolves with no help from you. And all you have to do is your part. And your part is keeping your mind stayed on the infinite. So you just keep coming back to this psalm each and every day until you start to get a sense of peace and certainty that whatever the situation is resolved. And you'll feel it in your heart. You'll feel it in your gut. And you'll know all is well. When you get that sense of peace and certainty, you know that your spell has taken. And you don't have to work on this situation anymore. And you can move on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Until next time, blessed be.